not knowing your name or looking at you like you're a stranger. Imagine staying up countless nights, watching her age not physically change, but her mentality going back to when she was a baby. Imagine helping your grandma, who was perfectly fine a year ago, find a bedroom in her own house. Last, imagine your grandma screaming and crying that you're mean when all you're trying to do is help her. Okay, slide. This is a picture of my great-grandma. Her name is Mal. This is a year before Alzheimer's took her life. She found out about a year before. She always had some sort of memory loss, but she found out like a year before she was actually diagnosed. And then in a year, she went from this to this. And so this is basically kind of her journey. Okay, next slide. Alzheimer's has no cure today, but there are many scientists trying to prevent, slow, or reverse this terrible disease. However, charities need donations to make this the least bit possible. Although some of you may not know anyone with this disease or haven't had to help a family member live through it, please realize this is a very serious illness and it is passed on genetically, so even myself or anyone in this audience could be carrying the gene as we speak. You never know who Alzheimer's disease will affect in the future. Anyone who donates money to cure Alzheimer's Fund could be prolonging one of the 5 million people's lives who have this disease by many years. By donating to this organization yourself, you can prevent your own children from carrying gene mutations linked to this disease. From personal experience, I know how traumatic Alzheimer's can be on the patient and especially the family coping with it. Also, through extensive research, I realized how far we came already in finding a cure for this disease and how a conclusion could be in the near future if people funded this organization. If you have any kind of heart, I know you'll decide to help this charity raise money to make a difference for many people's lives. So, does anyone in this audience know anybody with Alzheimer's or any sort of dementia? Okay. Alzheimer's is a disease of the brain. Through research, it's been discovered that Alzheimer's patients have many damaged nerve cells in their brain. These cells are believed to be damaged by things called plaques and tangles. Plaques are deposits of protein fragments called amyloid that build up in the spaces between nerve cells. And tangles are twisted fibers of another protein called tau that builds up inside cells. This is obviously a picture of a healthy brain, and this is a brain of an Alzheimer's patient. So as you can see, there's kind of a lot of space missing that's connecting the nerves. Although scientists have discovered a pattern in plaques and tangles, they have no idea how they are acting in Alzheimer's disease. Scientists believe they block nerve cells from communicating, which would affect the memory of Alzheimer's patients. This disease deals not only with memory, but also thinking and behavior. Okay, next slide. For instance, many people with this disease revert back to their childhood. These patients could forget how to use the bathroom or simply not even want to. They could become afraid of the dark or even become afraid of any social interaction. And as a result of these overwhelming symptoms, many people would send a family member to a nursing home just because the situation can be difficult to handle. However, in a difficult time, you have to remember it's not the Alzheimer's patient's fault. They have no idea really what's going on. Their control over their mind is slipping really fast. Okay, can we watch the video? There's a short video, it's like 2 minutes. I don't know if you can really hear it, but this guy was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. So he's kind of getting the disease before, and he's talking about how sometimes he'll brush his teeth with hand soap just because he forgets, or try to use rubbing alcohol for mouthwash. And it's just like simple things at first. But he said that he's a journalist, and he goes in his office and he has like pictures of everything, so that way he tries to remember.
Typically titled "On Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's." I'm doing maybe what my mother wished she could do, is to give people a blueprint of how to fight through this.
It's my office, a place of memory for me. This office tells me about my life. First copy of the Cape Codder, paper that I was editor and publisher. Here's my first big story, basically about how John Ehrlichman authorized the Ellsberg break-in.
I see his possibilities of working much longer, dwindling every day. And the hardest thing for Daddy is he's always been very prideful of his intellect. I mean, it's always been about brains. So of all things for him to lose. I guess my two biggest concerns is the future and the finances. And Greg loves his house. And
that's my biggest worry, losing a lifetime of memories and recollections and all that stuff because we couldn't stay here.
Okay, so as you can see, he knows it's happening to him right now, but he probably won't, maybe in a few months. My grandma, when she was diagnosed, she kind of did the same thing he did, but all of them are different, like all the patients. She mainly would forget where she was. She would pack her bags every night, maybe for a year. She'd say she was going home, and it's actually my great-grandma, so she lived with my grandma for all of her life. And she would always pack her bag and say she was going home. And the only other place they've ever lived is West Virginia, and that was years ago, because she was 80. So that was years ago, and my grandma would say, "Ma, you are home." She's like, "No, I'm not," and she would get very mean. So they don't really know what they're doing in a sense. Okay, next slide. More people are affected by this disease than you think. Right now, over 5 million people are victims of the disease this year, and most patients are over 60. But some people have early onset Alzheimer's, and it can start happening as early as 40. All the symptoms can start coming, just like the simple things like the guy said, he didn't know what toothpaste was, or he'd forget. And also we missed kind of the beginning that he was talking about. He was a journalist, and he basically would write write things down, a lot of things down, so he could try to remember more. And also, this is the 6th leading cause of death right now, so it's kind of a big deal. Next slide. Okay, according to the Cure Alzheimer's Fund website, no cure has been discovered yet, but most of the discoveries on this disease have been made in the last 15 years. This proves how far we've come in finding more answers and proves that there is progress that has been made. Now that you know more about this evil, horrifying disease, let's look at the outcome. In order to understand the feeling of joy and be proud of yourself and the need to be proud of yourself, you need to donate to the Cure Alzheimer's Fund. And I also encourage you to visit a local nursing home if you know nobody with this disease and need a victim, just so you better understand what they're going through. The amount of satisfaction felt with yourself after this honorable move will be overwhelming. Donating money is really easy. I was going to try to get a screenshot of the website, but I couldn't figure out how to do it, and it actually looked different on my phone. But if you go to the Cure Alzheimer's website, the donation tab's on the top right corner, and it'll just walk you through it. You may be wondering if your money is going to the right place, and I'll reassure you that it is. Next slide, please. Cure Alzheimer's Fund is the absolute best charity to donate for this important cause. It's one of the only nonprofit organizations, and it also covers all of its expenses, like pretty much any equipment or any people being paid is actually paid for by the founders of the board. So any money that you actually donate to goes to the actual research, goes to the cause. Also, according to the Charity Navigator website, the fundraising efficiency is 2 cents, so every time they're like fundraising to make $1, 98 cents of that dollar is actually going to the research, and the 2 cents is just going toward the fundraising. Finally, now that you know how to donate and you've been informed of the terrible outcome of this disease, know this. Every time you donate to this charity, chances are that you will be a reason for a new discovery and a break in the cure. Most recently, 3 more discoveries of medicine that helps prolong this disease have been found. Your money could cure this disease or factor into a new medicine that could actually help a lot more. Most of the medicines that have been found are, even though they're helping prolong a disease and people aren't getting it as soon, they come with other side effects. So if by donating and more medicine can be tested to see if the side effects won't be there anymore. Imagine the effect Alzheimer's could have on you and your son or daughter if a cure isn't found. The genes keep passing farther and farther into generations, which means without a cure, all these millions of people are going to suffer and then probably pass away shortly after. Clearly, the contribution of your money can provide hope and possibly save lives of many people. 5 million people in the world are suffering right now with behavioral, memorable, or thinking problems related to Alzheimer's or dementia. They need your help finding a cure. They need some help, and families of these patients need justice. Please get on to curealzheimers.org as soon as possible to make your donation for these people. Don't let another grandma forget her whole entire family, or a grandpa forget how to function normally as an adult. The only thing these victims need is help finding a cure to an awful disease. All you have to do is donate about 2 minutes of your time and a little bit of money. Every single donation counts.